fight. It'll be a long road for either of these teams. Could be an even longer road for G2 if they want to bring the series back, though, as Splyce commanded Game 1.
Yeah, and Drakus, you highlighted something that I actually missed in the first picking a ban phase. G2 wasted a ban on Morgana. Now, obviously, they wanted to play Syrakan, so that's why they banned the Morgana on their side, but is that really necessary to spend a ban on if you are G2 Esports, and then
Apparently,
giving
yes.
Skarner potentially again, unless they're first picking Skarner this time?
And giving up Syrakan.
I mean, you can definitely give up Syrakan.
No,
you can also
Rakan
not give
banned.
up Syrakan. Like, now, I would definitely first pick Skarner.
I think they're going to be forced into it. Well,
Great pick and ban phase. Morgana ban is MVP.
there you go. Skarner has been picked up by G2 Esports. This should set up G2 for more of a proactive early game. Skarner all around, I think from discussion from the analysts across the board, considered the best pick right now.
Yeah, this is the QSS Force. Now, Olaf is left open in this draft. It was banned last time by Splyce when G2 went for the Rakan first pick and then swapped the Zac for the Skarner on their side. Splyce, do you want to grab Olaf? Or do you just say we don't actually care about that? We want to play a tank instead? And look at that, it's Xerxes Zac.
You can't. That's disrespectful. You can't take the other side of the matchup and try to beat someone with it.
Oh, yeah, you can.
Oh.
Now, again, as you highlighted before here, not a strong early game. We're back.
We're back.
We got one game of We Need
Ladies and
Playmaker.
gentlemen, our quarterfinal story was you couldn't play Tahm Kench. After 3 weeks, it turns out we were wrong. You can play Tahm Kench. G2 have also learned this and are now locking in the Tahm Kench Jhin lane for Hjarnan and Wadid.
Definitely still a very different champion. I still think the laning phase is strong, as long as you don't need to rely too much on your Devour. And that's kind of the big thing. The cooldown is so insane, so it is a lot harder to protect your AD carry. But if you only need one Devour in a team fight, it's still enough. And the laning phase is still good from Tahm Kench's side, and they're pairing up with Jhin, which is probably the preferred pick for Hjarnan if he actually wants to try and win his bottom lane. So this is a shift for G2. It's not the Ezreal saying we don't want to do anything on bot side. They actually can make plays now.
And as we look at this draft, I feel like the bot lane is interesting. I want to see how well they can use the Tahm Kench. If this is the G2 that set themselves up for success with this defensive option. But the thing I have to point out, the thing backing it up right now that makes me happy is the jungle matchup, because Skarner on this patch, on 8.16, has a 100% win rate in EU.
Yeah, that's a good sign. What's Ezreal's win rate?
I don't know.
You don't want to do what I'm doing and just pull out a number?
See, the thing is I could just make a 76%. It's on my caster sheet, I've been informed. Ladies and gentlemen, I am lackluster. All right, LeBlanc has been banned. Alistar banned away as well. Deficio frantically looking up the win rate.
I mean, so Ezreal, during playoffs, had a 36% win rate. And now yesterday, when it was played during the Gauntlet here in Europe, Ezreal was sitting on...
And we found it.
...a win rate of 0% because he wasn't even played.
33.3% on this patch is the number.
That's what I'm looking for, 30.
All right, but aside from us embarrassing ourselves, Fisher, there is a draft going on. Aurelia has been banned out. Pyke has been banned away as well. Interesting. Not historically, Kasing at least, not historically the kind of player you would think would go for
He's tried a
these
few times
playmakers.
to play it. That's Kasing, baby.
Or is it a Niski? That's the thing about Zilean on this patch.
Oh, yeah. Can actually go into mid lane as well.
Oh, I like this. Perks on Akali. The first game he played was not the cleanest, but I want to see how much he's leveled up.
But we've seen a few times people take the Zilean against the Akali, specifically in the mid lane. That's an Aatrox top lane for Wonder. He's definitely embracing the carry tops right now. He's not just playing a tank. He's against a Sion. Let's see, will Zilean go mid against the Akali? And do they just grab something completely different and down in a support role for Kasing? Or will he get to play the Zilean against the Tahm Kench, which is a fairly easy lane for him?
I want to find out. Both of these lanes explosive on the side of G2. I think we're just going to see Jankos living on the top side, and Splyce are well aware. They're just going to put a Galio. They just want to neutralize the strength here.
But the Galio will look at the Aatrox as well and say, okay, if you want to play topside and try and get Aatrox ahead, like Galio can come in and be a huge, huge threat against tower dives, especially from G2 side. But the thing about Aatrox is you don't have to camp his lane super hard. He is fine on his own. You just want to speed him up because he is absolutely insane still once he gets a couple of levels. And it is Wonder playing it. I think actually Wonder, the last couple of games from G2, we haven't seen the player we were hoping to see after Rift Rivals. But it was during Rift Rivals where he got to play pre-nerfed Aatrox, buffed for some reason, but pre-nerfed back then, and he destroyed everyone.
He did.
He completely dumpstered every NA top laner. Not a big achievement, but he did. And now in Europe, needs to do it again.
And I think that's what everybody's wanted. Odoamne once again stuck on tank duty. G2 trying once again to play through the top side of the map. Akali for Perks. Aatrox for Wonder. These guys have been incredible carries in the past.
Yeah, I feel like the only lane you don't want to gank early is actually the mid lane with Akali, because she doesn't really offer anything. I think on bot side you have setup with Tahm Kench Jhin, and on top side you have the Aatrox. So to me, Skarner is looking at both side lanes more than anything. I just want to see what actually happens once we get a couple of levels for Zac, because I think you can go mid with the Galio-Zac combo to try and kill Perks.
We're going to have to find out. Well, as the players load onto the Rift, let's send it to Medic with Splyce's strategic coach, Duke.
Thank you very much, Drekos. I am joined by Duke. Now, Duke, I look at the G2 draft and I see a lot of power there. Aatrox, Skarner, Akali. How are you going to be able to deal with that with your draft?
They look for early game prior on solo lanes, but they also have a lot of burst, assassination power, and we counter this with like tanking beefy frontline, a lot of ways to control the Skarner through the Zilean, the Galio, and just a big DPS scaling on the bot lane. I think unless Akali snowballs really hard, I don't see them winning.
So the only way they win is if that Akali snowballs away from you guys?
Yeah, we should be hard against Galio, but anything is possible with this champion.
And with Perks as well. Good luck in the game, guys. Back to you.
All in on Perks scaling in the mid lane. Well, we're going to have to wait for a few levels before Perks really starts to threaten anywhere. And in the meantime, we can start to talk about a few of the other matchups. We already mentioned it once, and I feel like the jungle is a decent place to start before we get into this laning phase Deficio, because now we're getting the Swift swap. You know, we've got Jankos on the Skarner, Xerxes on the Zac. You talked about the side lanes. Where's he going to go first?
Well, probably Rift Scuttle control from Jankos, because last game when Xerxes played the Skarner, he got 3 Rift Scuttles in a row. You know, Jankos had to just give them up on the Zac. Let's see if it's gonna be the same thing here in this one. I like, though, again, the beefy front line, tons of tanks from Splyce. It's a bit like last game. And then you have Zilean ult. So whoever Perks will try and go for in late game fights, the Zilean ulti is there, and then suddenly things are gonna be on cooldown for the Akali. So I like a lot of, you know, I like a lot of the tools from Splyce to try and stop Perks from carrying team fights, but the execution against Akali is always the tricky one, because she can just get out of hand.
And Niski getting aggressive there, starting with the knockup. Looking to just deny Perks from approaching the wave, now looking for the Winds of War to push it out. Wanting to trade back and forth. Yarnan and Wadid doing what they can on the bottom side of the map. This match will get a little bit harder as Kasing gets a few more levels, but Zilean not the biggest factor in the early laning phase. The ulti incredibly powerful, but the bombs, it can be hit or miss.
Yeah, first of all, it can be difficult to hit them. Your bomb level 1 is on 10-second cooldown. Tongue Lash from Wadid is on 5-second cooldown. So there's a huge difference in how much they can actually trade against each other, and the damage is roughly the same, because Wadid brings pretty decent base damage. He then also has Glacial Augment on his side, so if he actually gets close enough to use that, he can really keep you in place easily and then devour you eventually. So it's not a lane that I'm expecting Splyce to just win, because I think with the Jhin Tahm Kench, G2 will be able to control the early push, and it's actually what we're seeing right now, and that fits then with the story of the Skarner getting the early river control, Zac just trying to farm, Rift Scuttler going over to Jankos on his side. He already secured the top lane, so effectively exactly the same thing happening as last game, just swap, because it's Jankos on Skarner.
And of course G2 outside of mid lane, 2 pushing lanes. One are going to push in the sign on the top lane, at least for now, until a
him
few
as
more
well.
levels.
I like this, you know, look at this, push both lanes here. Jankos is in there. Kasing following up with Xerxes.
This could be risky though. Tahm Kench is not there. Kasing has priority.
He has a blast cone.
He is blast cone. There's no way they extend this play unless Niski wants to get a little cheeky here. Double bomb does connect, but there's going to be no fallout for now. The focus from Splyce is just making sure that Xerxes can clear the jungle comfortably. Jankos and Wadid though are not going to let this one happen too easily.
They see everything right now. Kasing is trying to get some information. Wadid moving in with Jankos. Oh, gobble up.
Spit it out. They're going to smite it too.
Oh, I like it.
Cheeky steal. The only time in the history of League of Legends Tahm Kench has used the QW interaction.
I like the play though. They do not actually stay and try and deny Xerxes the blue buff. Jankos goes back to grab his own Raptors. He has a full bot side jungle he can kill. Meanwhile, on the bottom side, we have, of course, the push we mentioned before from Yarnan and Wadid. I like the combination again for laning phase, but to me, just the further we go into this game, the stronger the Xayah plus effectively 3 massive tanks in front of her will be. But early on, as we see here, Yarnan controls.
Especially with the Zilean too, to speed up the threats. A Galio running at you with that movement speed terror, truly terrifying. But you wonder why Kasing always suffers a Zilean. That 4-win, 1 loss 90.2 kill participation. That is a lot. 9 out of 10 kills Kasing is then therefore just about across his entire EU LCS career.
Hey, great number. Kill participation always a tricky stat though. Does it mean your team just never gets any kills? Like, is your team just sitting like, you know, 0
What it
kills
means for me,
25 minutes and then you get to team fight and you get all the kills?
True. I can tell many stories. The story it tells to me is that we could just sit on the bottom lane all game if we were trying to watch this from the Splyce perspective, because we know nothing would happen without Kasing there.
That's a fair point. What about mid lane where Perks is level 5 and Niski is forced back? He had to go in and help around the blue buff as well. He does not enjoy life right now. He's hard losing this lane.
Very difficult. You really want Akali to leap in on you so you can be the one to CC her, but if you're the one to leap in, she just gets to walk away.
I mean, you also really want to try and punish Akali a bit in the early game when she's not very strong. Right now, she's on 36 CS due to 23. Luckily, Niski can't TP back to lane, so we try and get something when Perks is recalling.
Of course, Nikos and Xerxes just continue to battle it out here in the jungle matchup. Last game was pretty slow. This game, only 5 minutes in, admittedly, but maybe a bit of a more sped up tempo. Are going to back off in the play, though. Oh, comes in. One good connect, no minion waves there. Yanko's now moving into the top side. You can see both junglers were crucial in the previous game. The story may continue here. Smite challenge down. They're going to try to bring Ottawamne back in. Not going to get anything else, but will bully him out for now.
Yeah, tried to force a flash right there. Ottawamne kept it. Knew he could actually walk out of it, but what we're probably going to see later is when Xerxes jumps in with level 6, if they know where Perks is when they actually engage onto him, they can pull him back out of his little shroud there.
And additionally, the taunt is one of the few forms of CC that can pull her out as well, because it is going to force her to auto-attack and reveal her. So it is, in general, like in terms of theory crafting, can be a very good matchup.
So they have tools to get Perks in vision and actually try and burst him down. Niski kills the wave right here. Perks will he all in with the ulti. It's a bait.
Handling. Trying to give... Ooh. Gonna back off.
Niski really tried to get in a position where it looked like he was gonna be an easy kill for Perks, or at least an easy trade. But Perks did not go for it. He knew the enemy support was missing, and he didn't have any vision of Xerxes.
Yankos, in theory, has an avenue to the top side of the map, but does not know where the enemy vision is, so does not push for any more. Perks now doing his best to push out before he backs. 58 CS is going to be in a nice position to get a little bit closer to the Gunblade if he wants to go for that first item.
Yeah, Niski's gone back to base twice already. He just returned now. Down in CS. Perks with level 6 on his side. Suddenly brings a lot of burst damage. I'm waiting for Yankos level 6 as well. Why not just go mid then? Flash ult as Yankos with your Kali. Niski's dead. Get that first kill for him. Aatrox on his own will already snowball. He's fine. He's just going to sit there. He's going to get further and further ahead. He's going to get a Black Cleaver, and then he will start being a huge threat. You don't need to actually get a kill on top side. Oh, Xerxes bot.
Kjarnan now flashing out. He's just going to try to bring it back. Sped up as he pulls back to the minion. Now pulling them into each other rather than could be focused up. Wadid now has to be careful here. Is he going to be able to do anything? He can't stop him going down. Now on the retreat though, moving forward. Going to pull the Zillion back. Level 4, but they're going to pull him out of the Galio ulti. Flash out to safety. Well played in the early game by Splyce.
Oh, Xerxes finds something top lane. They're fighting as well. Ottawamne will just walk away from this one. Bot lane, however, we did not get to see Wadid actually defend Kjarnan. Great setup with the Zac, and if there's one tool you want against the Tahm Kench, it is actually things like Zac that can AoE CC and also pull back a Tahm Kench later if he tries to devour his AD carry. So Splyce here, early first blood, Perks on top side.
Half health Ottawamne now trying to back off the wave. Perks going to throw down a bit of damage
Nice.
using the first ulti proc to leap in. Needs the passive proc, gets a little bit more damage. One more ulti, is it going to be enough? Takes him down, already used it, and it's just going to walk away. Well played by Perks.
Everything he did there was perfect to actually get the kill. He uses the first dash to get in and interrupt the ulti from Ottawamne. Then Ottawamne gets to flash away, but it doesn't matter because Perks has enough ability to catch up and actually keep him there, and then he takes him down. Let's see bot lane. Oh, he used the Devour just to try and block the potential stun. And now this Devour is on a massive cooldown, so Xerxes knows the moment he goes in, Wadid can't do anything. He's useless right now as a Tahm Kench. He actually ends up as being an issue because he pulls Kjarnan back towards him, and Xerxes and the rest of Splyce bot lane can then get the kill. I think there Wadid, almost you gotta sacrifice yourself and just stay in the brush. Walk away from the Zac.
Good play from Splyce to punish what is a very clear window of opportunity. We check this out from Perks one more time. Leaps forward. Perfect execution.
It's everything you want right there.
Yeah,
then he gets slow.
The double passive proc.
Bam. And he gets to connect and actually get another dash onto Ottawamne even after the flash. And no summoners, no big summoner used on the side of Perks. By that I could have just said flash, but I already committed to summoners.
No Ignite either, though, so a little bit less kill pressure in the mid lane. But for now, Niski is just the guy who gets to sit under his tower and use that Galio ulti to try and follow up. Jankos and Cersei fighting it out in the jungle.
Jankos' ulti is ready very, very soon. I still think going mid is just an easy opening for him if Niski's ever pushing forward and want to get a second kill on your Akali. Like Duke, the assistant coach from Splyce, said just before the game, we just need to make sure the Perks, you know, does not snowball. He's hard winning lane, he has 1 kill. So I guess not really successful yet.
Hard. He didn't specify what that was.
A couple of kills is
4
okay.
kills, maybe it's 5. But for now, G2 control the tempo of this game, and it looks like they will be setting their sights on this bottom lane tier 1 tower. Niski is here, though. He's going to take the blast.
Right into him.
Bit of a risky choice, though. He's going to throw out the taunt just to ward them off. Now pulled back. Not going to give the chance to auto, so Perks will stay stealthed up.
Another thing, actually, we mentioned before the Zac and the Galio to try and land AoE damage or AoE CC onto Perks. Well, there's also the bombs from Kising. There's feathers being pulled back from Copy, and there's the Q from Asai. I feel like everyone can bring something to try and hit Perks in there when he's invisible. So it will be hard for him to play team fights, but your 1-3-1 is insane if you're G2. You have Aatrox winning topside, you're gonna have Perks hard winning the other side lane. So that split push combination is really, really good, and the counter to that is gonna be Cersei engaging on the Zac. If that doesn't happen, Wonder is almost double the CS of Odon.
And we're 10 minutes into the game. G2 starting to build a significant lead in what is a tied kill score, courtesy of those big CS leads. And Deficio, if you're a G2 fan or a follower of G2, this is kind of what you want to see when their back is against the wall, because this org has an incredible history. And while this has been an incredibly rough season, you do want to see them turned around.
Oh, he went back in!
No, Perks getting a little bit aggressive here. They're not going to commit, though. They really do not want to mess with this Akali.
They also knew that one had already moved from top lane and Tahm Kench was sitting mid. G2 trophy case, however, it's a lot of ELCS titles, and I think the big one down the bottom, MSI final. After some rough years where they couldn't perform internationally, they made that final in 2017. Sadly for them, they didn't beat SKT, but it was a very good best of 5.
And now we're seeing the difficult position they're in, because if you look at their regular season, it started out so dominant, and it went a little bit downhill towards the end here, and now G2 are on a 7-game losing streak after that 0-3 in the first round versus Misfits. Do you see an ulti come in bot lane, though, so we'll hold that thought as Cersei has a very clear lineup to go in on the Jhin. Wadid can just eat up and walk away, however, so play nullified there, at least for now.
Yeah, and it's very important to highlight Yawnen didn't ult the wave here so he could recall after and shop, because he already picked up his items. He knew if this wave hits the turret, there's going to be 3-4 players from Splyce who's going to tower dive me. So he just wanted to kill the wave as fast as possible, at least most of it. So he didn't have to suddenly lose a bunch of minions and maybe even get killed on the turret. So I actually like the play from him. Copy and Kasing, they had to wait now for the second wave, and that meant all of Splyce ended up recalling. Cersei is going top lane because he's reading the map, and this is something Cersei will always do. He will get vision bot side, look for a bot lane play. The moment it doesn't happen, he recalls and he instantly starts going top side. Obviously multiple reasons. One, his camps are up there. And second, enemy teams like to cross map against Splyce, and when they cross map, it's Odo Amna who gets destroyed top lane. So Cersei has to show up and try and defend him. This time though, nothing happened top lane, except for Wonder sitting with 123 CS on an Aatrox.
You can see though the Galio is moving towards the bottom side of the map. This could be crucial. And Skarner is there as well. Rift Herald could be used if they want to push in for a little bit more, but they're not going to burn anything. He's not even going to auto-attack the ward. Does not want to reveal that he is in the area, but will get spotted out by this control ward. First continuing to be obnoxious in the mid lane, but Niski, that aftershock, just incredibly tanky. Perks has to be careful though, leaping back. Oh, fancy! He did have to burn his ult, but that also looked very cool.
Yeah, I think at first a little bit greedy jumping in without any help around, but Cersei never got in to actually do anything to him because he was just dancing around. He's trying now. He's the Zac.
Does not have a lot of cooldowns here. Is going to try to dash out to safety. Stealth is there. This champion is so obnoxious, and while he's taking up the time of 2 members, Rift Herald is being summoned on the bottom side of the map. G2 looking to extend the gold lead. They're already up 2K, and they want to make it 3.
This is the G2 we want to see. Super strong early game. You know, a jungler who's looking for plays around the lanes. Perks on an assassin where he can be a huge threat. And Wonder winning lane on a carry. It doesn't always happen. He tends to get shot down when he plays different carries on top side. But this one, he's been left alone. And now this team is fully controlling the game.
Bombs, they're not going to block the stuns. Cersei maybe looking for a flank on the side. They do not have the man advantage, however. Immediate use of the ulti to stop Zach from getting in any further. Galio ulti used back in return. Yarn and Wadid aren't even scared. Wonder is here, and the ulti is coming out. He wants to get the knockup, but Odoamne is there to deny it. Bomb in the belly. Wonder's still in trouble. That ulti is going to fade away. Maybe this is a chance to turn it around. Sion going back in, but a nice sidestep. Wadid going to be the only one to get hit by the knockup there. Wonder can't go in on the backside, but he's oh so low. This is the chance for Cersei. He pulls him in. The knockup's there for Odo. That's going to be the turn. Exactly what they want, but Yarnan is now going to fire shots to the back line. Kave has to be careful, but the beefy tank front line we talked about is there to body block for the back line of Splyce.
Man, I love when Cersei is playing Zac. He's so good at this champion, and he's looking for engages. He was low on HP, but he still managed to find 3 people. That was the perfect combo. Kave, my friend. He's
Heal's
fine.
already been used. Yeah, second and third stack, of course, closer in range. So if you're flashing the first one, it'd be a bit of a tough spot. Perks, though, just trying to wreak havoc, just trying to get an advantage back for the team. Double bomb does not connect. Perks now needs to make it out to safety. Good there.
Slowed down.
Here's the knockup, now pulling back. Odoamne might just slowly chase this one down. Perks has the ulti, though. He can turn and burn
Yeah,
this.
don't get too confident here, Odo.
Here comes Kasang. Does he have enough mana? He doesn't! Well, a beautiful fight bot lane for sure, but that is a bit awkward. Just absolutely outplayed by Perks.
Odoamne he thought to himself, hey, I have Kasing right behind me, but this was a Zillion without mana and no ulti, so he's not going to do anything. It was effectively a 1 versus 1, and that's a Sion stacking armor trying to go towards an Akali who's already sitting on gunplay. That was never going to work, Odoamne. That's a big mistake. Another kill for Perks, despite the bot lane fight going in Splyce's favor. They lost all this damage on the mid lane turret, so it's going to drop now. Wadid is fighting now 1v1 on top side.
Now pulling him back. Yarn is going to land the snare. Good chain CC coming through. Doesn't mean Zeus is just going to leap out. Not going to get much else there, though. The channel, as Niski does manage to get to level 11. Perks now running for his life, but no CC is going to connect. Healing up there on the 5-point strike. And you just can't lock Perks down. They had a theory here where they thought they could stop the Akali, but it's just not happening.
Yeah, we highlighted the 5 champions who can all do AoE damage or CC to try and get the Akali when she's invisible, but they're not hitting it right now. All 3 outer turrets are gone. This is the play bot side. Cersei on Zac. It's so fun to see how good he is at actually getting in range here. He gets the flash plus ulti, 3 people knocked back. This is the perfect setup for you into the taunt from Niski. You don't have a lot of damage, but you have enough to get some kills. Ideally here you get a bit more because again, look at the minimap, guys. In the mid lane, Perks is just sitting there. He's not moving, he's getting a bunch of damage on the turret, and then Odoamne gives him that kill right after.
And that replay, of course, brought to you by Acer Predator. And wondering where the Resident Predator is, because Perks is the man that can run, that can stalk these guys, that can run them down in the side lanes. If he was in that fight, a lot of people would have died, but Splyce seeing their opportunity and taking it. They're going to need a few more, though. They want to keep things going. Ulti already used by Kave. Can't try to stop Perks from getting in the fight, but it might just be too little too late. Kasang is even going to burn the ultimate. Yes, he is.
Oh,
the flash! Is going to get the resurrection, but now they're just going to burn him down. Galio's on the way in, but Perks is not even going to get hit by the CC. Pulled back into the middle of the team. Kave now trying to run. Is he going to get it? No. 5-point strike. Taken down in the end as Wonder goes 2v1 on the bottom side. Niski backs off. Let's swap cameras. Let's look at Wonder. Is he going to get the resurrection? Are they going to wait out for it? Beautiful dash to deny the ultimate from the Zac. My God, action everywhere.
Yeah, and G2 in full control. Last game was very slow, very passive from their side. It kind of looked like they weren't actually ready to play here on the big stage after losing so many games in a row. But this one here, aggressive solo laners with the Aatrox and the Akali. We get Wadid back on Tahm Kench as well, and suddenly G2 looked like a completely new team. We haven't seen these guys in almost 2 months playing like this. Winning the early game super hard, snowballing. And Splyce, whenever they try to fight, they're just losing something.
And this top end, this potential from G2 kind of gives us a reminder as to why so many analysts predicted in their favor despite not seeing them. Is because we know the individual potential of players like Wonder, Jankos, Perks, how smart players like Yarnan and Wadid can be as well. We hadn't seen it, but we are starting to see it now here in Game 2.
And now if you're Splyce, again, you've lost everything. Like, there's really no way for you to get a big advantage right now, so you're just trying to defend and get all the waves you can. And they play topside. They're actually staying alive for as long as possible, but the problem is the moment his Zillion ult is used, Kasing can't do anything in the fight, and he will eventually die. And Perks gets that last hit again onto Kave. So you have 3 kills on the Akali, and once again, as Duke said, do not let Akali snowball out of control. I feel like she's kind of out of control right now.
I think that might be the case. I think 3-0-1 and a 30 CS lead is probably enough to definitively call Perks out of control. What would really be out of control is if he tried to kill Kave right here. He's not going to risk it, and he will just wait for his team to get an objective on the bottom side of the map. But Splyce grouping on top side where there is nothing for them to take. Now, despite how explosive this game has been, it's only 19 minutes to Fischio. Baron's not even on the table for either of these lineups because it hasn't spawned yet. Nico's going to try to pull back.
Oh, wasn't ready.
Didn't want to mess with him. Big, scary slime man. Perks is right there. He could take.
Probably could have.
Yeah. But why burn the ulti? Jungler not going to be important yet. There's really no follow-up objective to take. In 45 seconds, though, that story will change. However, Jhin, Akali, probably not the most threatening duo when it comes to Baron. Wonder, however,
Right.
70 CS up, Deficio.
Yeah, again, we talk so much about perks in this game here, but obviously Wonder is just going to town on Oda Amna, and there's really nothing the Sion can do against it, because whenever you try anything, yeah, you're just gonna see this Aatrox heal back and just out-damage you.
And we now see what could either be a Duskblade or a Youmuu's. I'm
It's a
going to
Ghostblade.
assume Youmuu's. Extra movement speed is going to be nice to have, and
Cooldown reduction.
Oda Omni doesn't get to play the game. Hjarnan is going to get eaten up, but they're going to be pulled back. What? That was an interesting interaction. I think he got knocked up to deny the knockback. Awkward use of the CC there. We're going to have to see a replay on that one to see exactly what went down in the exchange.
Once again, though, it's a fight bot lane.
Pulling back, Wonder has been taunted, is going to get the ultimate out, though. That's going to be crucial. Splyce still playing on the back foot as Perks has priority in the mid lane and will look to push for that tier 2 tower.
They're trying again. With 5 members, it's the only thing that Comp can't do is just try and 5 versus 5, but whenever they do it, they don't have any damage right now because it's all about scaling on the Splyce side, and Perks will
He's
just
just
walk
waiting.
away.
He knows that they do not have a threat there. Kabi has to be safe. Everyone stops their back timers.
If that had been any other AD carry, you know, without an ulti to actually become untargetable, Perks would probably jump in and try and kill them.
And Deficio, this is G2's largest lead in the game since week 6 of the LCS.
I said it 2 months, man. Like, we have not seen this team win early game this hard.
Oh no. Blastcone brought Perks back into the team. Luckily for him, manages to slow him down before he goes for anything else. Oh, there it is. The knockup! Oh, that's the most awkward thing I've ever seen, Odoamne, you poor man, you couldn't have known.
That's just unlucky.
Thank you so much, observers. That replay was otherwise insignificant. I just had to know how that worked out. But would have pulled the Tahm Kench and Jhin right back into the team. And unfortunately, Sion said no.
I feel bad for Cersei, man. I really feel like he's doing everything he can do.
But it's not even Odo's fault.
I know, but that's just unlucky, right? Like, this Zac has done so many things to try and set up kills for his team, but every time he brings someone into the team, they have no damage. They just can't kill anyone.
And bless the internet, someone out there's gonna be like, how could you not know about this really specific interaction? You're a professional player. But it's just, you
Happens
don't
in every game I play.
You don't run into these circumstances. So Odoamne knows for next time not to charge the CC. But now Splyce, they're kind of just doing what they can to hold on at this stage of the game. We know that in theory, if they go late, if they can stop the Akali from getting to the back line, they can pull out a win here. But G2 has gotten literally everything that they wanted in the early game.
And that's kind of the thing, right, with G2. Back when they were super good at playing the early game, they would often get really far ahead at 20-25 minutes, but then slow down around Baron, because they wouldn't be super clean at securing the big objective into then finishing the games. So really good late game teams could stall like a Fnatic and get to late game team fights, and then Reckless or whatever could then suddenly win the fight, and G2 would feel pretty bad because they got a 5-6k goal lead, but then couldn't actually win the game. Splyce, they are the kind of team who can try and stall for late game, but I feel like this time around they are so far down, it should be impossible for them to defend the side lanes. They will eventually lose the Baron as well. I don't see a way G2 lose this game.
It's difficult, especially when Odoamne has to run from the side lane matchup, when Niski can't really go toe-to-toe with either of the side laners, can just do what he can to clear the waves. Perks has been taunted up, though, but is not going to get an auto attack off, so they're going to have to back off. Brenning on the backside, pulling back. Perks is playing under the enemy tower. Gotta love those Akali interactions. There's just nothing that they can do. All of that CC, if they try to burn it on Perks, they're just going to get dove by the remaining members.
Let's see, one on bot side once again. Cersei will try his best when it comes to finding this, but as we highlighted before here with the split push, you just can't get the fight you want to Splyce because you're just losing something mid if you're going bot, you're losing something top as well. Eventually there's a wave coming in. G2 right now are playing a split push game. They're not allowing Splyce anyway to get back in the game.
I have to wonder what Splyce could have done to stop this from happening. Perks has been immaculate this game, I think it's safe to say. We wanted to see if his Akali had improved since last time we saw it on stage, where it was admittedly good, but a little bit sloppy here and there. Well, it's looking pretty clean at this stage.
Come on, face check. Squishy support, face check.
He threw down the bomb, but that's one, that's half your stun. Perks. Oh, the laugh. He said he was confident. We heard from the entire G2 line that they were feeling good, and spamming laugh as you run into the enemy's face means you know you're having a good time in this game.
I will say though, Kising, that was the best support play I've seen. You did not face check. You just threw in a bomb instead and said, is someone in here? Yes. A level 15 Akali.
Those are the Season 3 fundamentals paying off when mid laners just one-shot supports, and that's all
Every
that they
time.
did.
Support ran around back when Oracle, if you remember that item.
Yep, 400 gold.
And if you died, it would disappear. So
Yep.
you were just so scared. And every mid laner was like an assassin who could burst you down like 3 times.
Zed, Ari, good era, good era. Now we're back in that era because we have a Kali. He's gonna dash back.
Okay, they're trying with the
they're
AoE
trying.
again.
Gonna get pulled back. Nothing to connect
nothing
onto.
to hit.
And his second use of the ulti just to get him out to safety. And meanwhile, the rest of G2 is on the bottom side taking this tier 2 tower, and it just continues to show us that there's not really a right choice for Splyce. They either have to go all in for this trade, knowing they're going to give something up. The most that they can hope for feels like a 50-50. Or an even trade, rather, not a 50-50.
Right, and it actually showing again why Akali is considered such a hard champ to play against when she gets ahead, because it's not just about her damage, it's about how hard it is to actually shut her down. Because she can just go into a shroud, she becomes invisible, you literally cannot see her. And then she has mobility as well to try and get away. Old Akali could only use ulti towards champions. So she couldn't actually use all this extra mobility to also jump over a wall, get out of a skill shot, whatever it is, but new Akali can't do that. So when you try and go to kill her, unless you get point and click CC, before she even gets her W down, you can maybe burst her, but that's so difficult.
And it's just a nightmare, because not including any skills whatsoever, a Kali passive right now does about 350 damage. A key part of her kit to be sure, but that alone combined with the execute on the second cast, perfect execution, is just an absolute nightmare to play against. Kabe has his ulti to keep him safe. He has Kasing's ulti to keep him safe. And you know that on top of the Mikhails, but I still don't know if that's enough to survive an Akali diving in.
No, because the problem is, once you've used all of that, you haven't killed anyone. Because you are either up in the air as Kabe, not dealing damage, or you are reviving, not dealing damage. Who else is going to kill people? The Zac? The Sion? No, they're not going to kill anyone. So you actually need Kabe to be able to auto-attack in late-game team fights. But because they're so far down, he's probably never going to be allowed to auto-attack. He's just going to either be dead or up in the air.
G2 now starting the Baron, probably knowing that as well, that Kabe really cannot comfortably approach, that team fights are not set up to go in the favor of Splyce at this stage of the game. Xing having to slow down Perks. Throwing out those bombs is incredibly risky, however, because the second you throw one, you can't stun him. Where is he? Oh,
He's
man.
getting out again. Oh, Perks, he's having so much fun.
Xing has ulti, but I can't even blame him. I didn't expect that much damage to come out from the Akali. G2 now, sights though on the mid lane. Righteous Glory has been used. Yanko's running in. Could look to take down Kabe here. There's no Kasing. They're trying to get the knockup. Has pulled back Zac midair to stop and deny the entrance. The wombo combo could now come through.
Okay.
Wonder could get the reset. Is going to get it as well. Will resurrect, but Yarn is now on the backside. They're trying to go in. Perks doesn't even care. He's pushing in on the top side. They get one on the side of Splyce, but G2 still very much in control.
Yeah, here, once again, Splyce tried to show us what their comp can do. When they get the massive tanks, all the AoE engage in the front, problem for them, they only get one kill. And then everyone else from G2 gets to walk away from this one. So Splyce, despite executing some of the fights, are simply not at a point again where they can't get enough from it to get back in the game. This is the play on top side.
Second Brenda's bomb, you're dead.
Yep, jumps in, and here, Kasing could ult himself, but he doesn't expect this damage coming in.
Oh, it's like melee Zoe.
Niski jumps away, and now we actually get a pretty good setup. Like, Xerxes jumps in. I like the ult from Yanko, so Xerxes can't instantly do anything, and then we get the combination of Sion, Zac, plus Galio. Kabe is free hitting in this fight. This is the perfect setup for Splyce, but it only gives them one kill. I gotta say, though,
Threw the ult, but he didn't pull the feathers back. I guess he was waiting for the Tahm Kench to spit out the Jhin before he went for anything else.
probably, but he gets a flash from Yana. Could be big in the next fight if Xerxes can actually get onto him. Might be the only way back for Splyce now. Xerxes gets onto Yana, tries to knock him back into the team. They kill him while Perks cannot assassinate Kabe fast enough. But the fact that Splyce, great shot calling game one, abused the fact that Warner didn't have TP on his side available, and then great Baron calls, so they win. It actually looked pretty dominating. Now G2 pick super strong solo laners to get the Skarner first pick, and they destroy Splyce, for now at least. Sets up a very fun best of 5.
Individual picks are key here. Perks now on the backside looking to pick up Kasing. Has used the Shroud to reset. Perks now unstoppable. Going back in on Xerxes. Nobody's going to survive from this. Wonder now hunting down the prey. The curtain call is coming out. It might just be curtains for Splyce. Now pulling back. Xerxes gone into the passive. Perks all but untouched. I set him a little boblets. TP to buy a little bit of time, but that's not going to stop him from dying. Tower going to fall. Inhibitor sure to follow. Javi and Odoamne have to play safe. If they die here, the game could just end in the favor of G2.
29 minutes in, G2 didn't even need the Baron so far to get the first inhib. Odoamne and Splyce not able to do anything, and now G2 will get the Baron on the way out. Another big fight, and Perkz, second time he assassinates Kasing before he ults himself.
And for Kasing, there's really no right choice, because if you ult yourself in that instance, you can't ult your AD carry. But I guess it's a superior alternative to just dying. The Zillion pick, in theory, is supposed to counter a lot of what G2 wanted to do, but it is just not working out. They will get their Baron. They will extend their gold lead. More than 10K in their favor. What a different story here in Game 2.
Yeah, such a turnaround from G2 Esports. Losing 7 games in a row before this one, and now looking this good. Kasing, as you see on top side, he doesn't want to use ult early on himself in case Perkz just swaps the target. And then he just gets bursted down. Like there's a Lich Bane as well on the Akali right now. Nothing the rest of Splyce can do. Copy can never properly auto-attack in these fights. So he will drop as well. Baron now for G2. Looks like one last fight and the game should be over here. And G2 will look then at a 1-1 score after losing game 1. Best way possible to bounce back in game 2.
I would say we heard a lot about momentum in that first interview at the start of the day with Grabs. Is we weren't worried about the opposing momentum. I was a little worried there in game 1, but now in game 2 it is G2 taking that momentum back. And Splyce won in a very Splyce way. Very slow, very controlled. G2 winning in what I think we can safely call a very G2 way. Individual players making the difference, coming up clutch.
I would say G2 at the start of Summer Split and Spring Split way, yes, not end of Summer Split.
Definitely true.
And I think that it's so important to highlight how this team, we've asked so many times, when can they actually start playing early game again? And this is what we're getting in this game here. Big for them here in the Gauntlet run. Not only do you have to beat Splyce today, you also then have to try and beat Schalke tomorrow. So it is really rough. And I know Splyce, after this game, he will be able to adapt. They can look at that Akali and say, we should maybe just get rid of it in the second phase. We don't have to leave it open.
Could be the option here. We'll back off, though, on the play. Not going to push for anything more on the fight. They know Perkz is top side. Perkz hunting down Niski here, getting those passive procs and doing so much damage, even to the tanky stats of that Galio. Really wants to proc the Aftershock, but cannot even hit the Akali, so Perkz gets to grab this inhibitor uncontested. Wonder now pushing in as the curtain call comes out. They're looking to threaten Kabi with this one, but Odoamne going to body block what he can. Speed up use there from Kasing. Desperation times for Splyce. Are they going to be able to get anything back here? Gargoyle Stoneplate used. Odoamne now unstoppable. He tries to run into the base.
Oh, hit the bomb in there.
But isn't going to take it in the end. Ulti, though, used from Kasing means it's going to be an easy reset. Perkz into the back line. Wonder now on a killing spree. Where's Perkz going to go next? A lot of damage coming out. G2 playing with their food a little bit here as we start to close out game 2. Unstoppable, but pulls him out there. Wants to turn it back. Can they do anything? Kjarnan untouched on the backside. The 80 carry still alive. Perkz healing up the 5-point strike. The damage coming out is absolutely absurd from the G2 lineup. They're cleaning up. They're making it look good. And after an incredibly rough game 1, G2 have finally showed up. A 7-game losing streak broken right here as G2 will take the second game after a few more moments of playing with their food.
And Splyce on their side, they will look at the bigger man face and say, did we gamble too much? We heard from the coaching staff, it was all about making sure Akali does not snowball too much. They felt like they had the option to stop her with all the tanks, with all the AoE crowd control on their side. But none of it actually connected, and the early game was just so G2 favored. I gotta say, Xerxes was the only player who actually managed to do something on the side of Splyce in that game, but best way to bounce back. Best setup as well for a best of 5, where you get a 1-1 now. Splyce dominating the first game, G2 destroying them in the second game. Game 3? Do we get another G2 early game focus draft? Do we get another late game focus draft from Splyce?
I have an idea, and it would be ban the 100% win rate champion in Skarner. Don't give it to either side.
Yeah, Skarner first pick was definitely a lot better than the Rakan first pick. Again, I feel like Skarner on stage is just insane. Like, nothing can go wrong for you, man. You're strong 1v1, you have good jungle clear, you have a suppression, you force QSSs. Like, I like everything. All of it is great.
And it's a good look right now for G2. They prove Wonder, a guy we wanted to see. You know, we debated between carries and tanks. What was actually the right choice for him? We hadn't seen a good carry performance from Wonder since really Rift Rivals, if we look back. And now, him showing up on this Aatrox, building up this incredible CS lead on the top side, coming in, using that in the late game was good. And Perkz on the Akali, I mean, not a lot to say there. You saw it. You were there. You witnessed it, audience.
Exactly.
You know exactly how dirty that Akali was and how unstoppable Perkz looked on the champion.
And you said during the pick and ban phase when we had the first pick Skarner and then the Zac answer on the other side, well, now the early game is going to be in favor of G2. So when you have Zac plus like a Sion, how are you ever going to stop Wonder from just pushing 24/7? Because if you try and gank him and Skarner is there, you instantly die, and the game might just be over. Mid lane was where they tried something in the early game, but they never got onto perks, and the moment that didn't happen, despite a good game from Xerxes, it just snowballed out of control.
Absolutely did. Well, G2 have now tied the series 1-1, and for more on that game, let's send it over to our analysts.
Thank you very much, guys. Medic interviewed the analyst from Splyce, Duke, before the game and basically had his last question. So the only way G2 wins this game is if Akali snowballs out of control. And now you could do... Oh, we found the signs, by the way. Now, what I don't want to do is jump on the Splyce hate train because of that. And I want to actually turn it on its head and praise G2 for playing to their win conditions exactly. And my question is, was it G2 as a whole, or was it just perks completely going off?
I felt like a lot of it was just perks going off. In part, it was a couple mistakes from Odo. As you can see, he was kind of the recipient of a lot of these early kills from the side of Akali. But I love the way Perks is playing. Like, we wanted to see him on more of a playmaker. Sheepy, you talked about the fact that he wasn't that corky in game one, and even though they tried to play through mid, it's not something that can really run away with the game. And this time around, you saw the difference, except he was building a lot of the leads for himself.
So this must make you happy then, Sheepy. Is this what you wanted to see?
All the changes that G2 needed to make to win this game, they actually did. So I'm very, very happy about what G2 did. I think also unsung hero is Wonder, who did amazing in the top lane. And I think Aatrox is a pick that's been underrated a lot, has been showing up everywhere and has always done extremely well. So yeah, a lot of question marks now coming up for Splyce. What are they gonna exactly do against the Aatrox, against the Akali?
Yeah, great
And
point.
even the Skarner.
And even the Skarner, we'll take a look at picks and bans and look forward in just a second. I would like to button up the early game because Akali was so good and it just snowballed out of control. If we compare the goal difference at 15 and at 20 minutes, I believe at 15 for game one compared to game two. Game one looks like the second half of the split for G2, and game two looks like the 6-0 G2 that we saw in the beginning of summer. So how easy of a blueprint is this now to replicate for G2? Because obviously it works with Akali if she gets 2 kills early.
I mean, the thing is, a lot of the early gold, like, Akali getting kills was great, but a lot of the gold lead actually came from the Tahm Kench Jhin in the bot, because they were actually able to have priority over the Xayah and the Zilean, and kind of expectations were that once they locked in the Zilean, they would be winning that 2v2, but Jhin Tahm is surprisingly strong. We heard the casters talking about it. The fact that they had constant push, you had Akali and the Skarner roaming down bot in the early game too. This team got 2 towers very quickly as well, especially thanks to Wonder constantly pushing up top lane. So with those gone, it became very easy to move these 2 side lane threats in Akali and Wonder out to the map, and that's where we really started to see this G2 team unlock.
I agree. To come back to your point, Sheepy, when we look at picks and bans and see what has to change from G2, if they want to win 3 games. But in game one, Splyce, great draft, great composition, great strategy in the game itself. Do you feel like they've taken a bit too many risks and a bit too many freedoms in this draft, giving over the Aatrox and the Akali and the Skarner?
I think so. I also believe that Splyce has been doing what they thought was working, like they put Odwamna on a tank and everything will be fine, and but it seems now that G2 found a champion that can just snowball so hard on the side lane that they can play this 1-3-1 style. They started picking the champions that can be aggressive in the enemy jungle, and Splyce didn't really know how to react. The Skarner was really key, like we said, Aatrox and Akali, and they just play the 1-3-1 composition, and then even the Tahm Kench with the Jhin made so much sense. Really strong lane, but can also deny this engage from Zac, and they only got 1 good engage on Splyce, and that was really it.
What's your gut? What do you ban away, though, if any?
That's really difficult.
Yes.
Imagine you're the coach, and you got to go on stage in the next one.
Somebody of the players needs to speak up. There needs to be some change of priority. Like, even the Jhin did well into the Xayah, and Xayah has been popping up.
What if none of the players say anything, Sheepy? The coach needs to have an answer.
Then you need to step up as a coach.
Wait.
Yeah, of course.
Grab's going to be there and be like, Wonder, you got nothing? Perks, you got nothing? Well, better go home then.
I think that they can pick up the Skarner to deny the Akali. That's an idea, because what Schalke did when they played against Akali, they picked all the lockdown. They picked Cho'Gath for top lane. They picked Lissandra for mid lane. They picked Skarner, just this point and click CC to shut him down. The Braum, like, it was impossible to play, so that's a good start.
Yeah, I think that's a good strategy. What I think interesting about that is that what was the perfect composition. And I remember in draft, you did say, I actually don't understand where Perkz is going for this Akali when the enemy team has Zilean. Little did we know he was going to pop off the way he did.
The thing is, I thought the Zilean would go mid, and I feel like Zilean mid does a really good job of controlling Akali, because even in her Shroud, you can get locked down by the bombs, and we know that, I feel like this is something that Niski would be more than happy to play, and it's something that also makes her one-shot potential really difficult. But the thing that really impressed me about G2 was that they didn't fall into the trap of trying to team fight with this comp. You know, you mentioned it earlier, Sheepy, the fact that we only saw one good ult and kind of setup from the side of Splyce where they got 2 kills towards the bot lane. That was the only time we saw it. Outside from that, G2 was like, let's not play to their biggest strength, which is 5v5 team fighting. Let's just divide the map and rely on our individual skill to outplay them, which often worked out in their favor.
And that's a pretty hard thing to do when you see that most games devolve into just team fights all the time. But if you are this far ahead, I think that was wonderfully executed by G2. But nothing overboard yet for Splyce either. 1-1 in the first game. They could rely on their strengths, a lot of team fighting, getting the objectives as well. In game 2, G2 ran away with the game. So my question is, how does Splyce now reinsert the things that were working for them yesterday and in game 1? For instance, I've not seen Kabi that much at all. So what has G2 done to negate him, and what can Splyce do to bring that beautiful X factor back into the game?
So I think a higher priority needs to be put onto things like Tahm Kench. I think you need to take that off of Wadid, keep the Rakan ban in there, see what else he can bring out. Because I think that we saw yesterday, they're more than happy to play the Tahm, and I think it works. I also think you should consider throwing a ban towards the Aatrox and just leave the Akali pick there. Because I think there are ways in dealing with Akali in isolation, but when you have this much power on both your side lanes, it becomes harder to try and isolate her down and keep her impact limited. So if I was Splyce, I would look to kind of go back to some of the comfort and success they had from yesterday, ban away the Aatrox, which they also did yesterday against Maxer in the jungle, and then just kind of try and lock down Perkz to prevent him from doing Perkz things.
I do believe that maybe Tahm Kench is not as important, maybe to deny it from the enemy, but I think
that's
the
why I would do it.
The engage is really, really important for Splyce, because I think G2 should be very comfortable playing the 1-3-1 setup, so you should deny this, and I think G2 should be afraid of the 5v5 in mid game, so you should enable that as Splyce. So really pick engage. I think in this game as well, they didn't engage enough with Zek towards mid lane. They should have done that constantly, and they just didn't.
Ornn would be really good for that, which is something that they played a lot yesterday.
So for example, that's a good idea. Pick more engage, more safe engage, where you can literally just press the R button and you go in. And I think this should be Splyce's game plan. I think the idea of shutting down the Aatrox is the first step, because I think right now, shutting down Aatrox with a counter pick, I wouldn't know exactly which one, right? So, but maybe they have a better idea. So those will be, going forward, I think both have characteristic the styles that they want to pick up.
Yeah.
So game 3 will be super, super interesting.
We all voted G2. Us 3 voted G2 at the beginning of the day. Recency bias, and the way they won game 2 thinks, okay, well, that was pretty good then. But do any of you have different feelings? Do you think that Splyce is actually going to come out on top and bounce back from this?
So to me, it feels like that G2 have a lot more options in the draft. That's kind of what I'm initially seeing based on game 1 and game 2. But the question is, how well will Splyce adapt throughout the series? So if they can adapt, I think Splyce can take us to a challenging series.
Yeah, I think we're not that much the wiser. I think we need to see one more game at least to know. And both teams, they have so much on the line tonight as the players look to keep their dreams of playing at Worlds alive. Find out who takes the lead in the series right after this.
He's going to try to bring it back. Sped up.